Hello and welcome to Cindershadow Gaming. I am your host Cindershadow, and today we got to talk about the creator of Five Nights at Freddy's. The creator of Five Nights at Freddy's has been, for intents and purposes, doxxed and completely degraded for views that shouldn't be seemingly as uncommon at this point. We're in June, which happens to be the month where everyone celebrates Pride Month, and I have seen things that go to and for and against and for and everything, and we have companies that come out of the woodwork just trying to make an extra dollar on the backs of people that, honestly, that's not what it's there for. It's to try and support people that want to be who they are, that should be free to express who they are, that should be free to be who they are, and plain and simple. But unfortunately, there are some people out there that do go off the deep end and make things very bad. We've seen this in all fandoms. We've seen this in all sort of niche things. We've seen this time and time again. I play Magic the Gathering. We see it a lot in that gaming space where people are just up to no good. But there is majority of a lot more people that are good people that are playing these games and who they want. In all intents and purposes, it's not stuff that I usually try and talk about too much because of things. Well, Scott, I'm just going to go by Scott because I don't even know what his last name is. I just know he's the creator of Five Nights at Freddy's, was doxxed and all this other stuff over people finding out who he voted for, over some of the views he stands, over him possibly being a Republican, and it's just sickening to me. We saw this with Gina Carano. We've seen this time and time and time again, where in a fandom, people get so entrenched in that fandom, and then they find out that their creator happens to have views that people don't like, and suddenly that fandom is feeling like it's being ripped away from them when it's not. You're still able to enjoy the fandom. You just need to look past the cover. Judging people by who they vote for, by the views that they hold, it's going to lead you down a road that is very dark and foreboding, and it's not going to help you bring yourself, anyone, out of bad places in the world. It's going to create a nightmare scenario for those involved, and that is the nightmare scenario that we are. Recently, from stuff I'm reading, Scott's wife is pregnant. She is approximately 6 weeks pregnant, and this type of fear-mongering and hatred and vitriol and whatever you want to call it that's gone towards Scott and his place of residence becoming possibly unsafe because people are doxing, people are threatening to come down there and do bad things to him over a simple view online, especially on Twitter, has gotten his wife very, very terrified and scared. And I really do feel for you there, Scott. Like that's for someone that made this amazing fandom of Five Nights at Freddy's and the lore behind it and all these secrets. And I love watching the game theory stuff get uncrack a lot of the game, and I don't want to ever see us lose that. And I hope the best for your wife. I hope she gets over the little bit of fear and know that the community will rally here in this circumstance and tell you that you're doing an amazing job. No matter what your affiliation is, I don't care what your affiliation is. I don't care what your views are at this point. You've created a culture, and that culture, unfortunately, does drive a few people insane. And that is what you're facing now, is that 1 to 2% that have gone completely off the deep end. And we have seen this time and time and time again. So, plain and simple, I'm going to read Scott's achievements here, things that he's done, and he has a whole big Reddit post overall. So first thing first, someone put together his achievements on where he's donated, how much money he's donated to charities, and in a lot of cases they're at children's hospitals and stuff like that. Overall, the total is over $1 million out of pocket. We've got $500 to American Heart Association, $250,000 to St. Jude, $5,000 to a charity stream, $25,000 to Zeldathon, another almost $20,000 to St. Jude, another $5,000, $15,000 to Extra Life through Rooster Teeth, $25,000 to St. Jude, another $25,000 through Zeldathon, against malaria, $10,000. $500 to JDRF fundraiser. I have no clue what that is. $5,000 to Muse Aid, which was a Markiplier event. Another $5,000 through a WWF that's the World Wildlife Foundation with Donco event. $2,500 to John Wolf's charity stream. Another $90,000 to St. Jude's. $2,500 to Memorial's GoFundMe. $100,000 to Zeldathon. I need to look into this Zeldathon because I am very interested in this now. $25,000 to WWF, $5,000 WWF, $10,000 WWF, $3,000 WWF, $500,000 to St. Jude's, and another $7,500 to WWF Australia. These are all charities that are either children's hospitals or wilderness funds helping to try and do things good for the planet and good for humanity. And those are some very reputable things. And someone put this together, not him, someone else put that together. And that says a lot, I believe, in the character of the person. But we're going to go through the Reddit post that he made here because it is... I read this earlier today and I was like, I can't pass this up. I have to make a video about this because, in all honesty, we all stand with you, Scott. This is absolutely ridiculous that you're having to go through the situation. Look at all the awards that this Reddit post has. That is a ton. It's got 5.8 thousand upvotes, or 5,800 upvotes, so that's more like it, on a Reddit subreddit, which is Five Nights at Freddy's. I don't even know how many people are on there. There's probably 100,000. Reddit isn't a huge place when you see upvotes and stuff like that, so I'm not surprised. But my response and maybe last post. This message isn't specifically directed at the Reddit community. This is just the community I care about the most and where I choose to post these things. I never cared much for Twitter anyway. And Twitter, in all intents and purposes, is a very, very visual, evil place. Everything I've seen on Twitter, like Twitter has its spaces. I like seeing people posting wolves and animals and dogs and cats. But there's a lot of political content that does go on Twitter, and unless you're willing to wade into that political conflict, it's not really that great of a place in my eyes. To say that the last few days have been surreal would be an understatement. I've been debating greatly how to address this, including not addressing it at all, but with many people from the LGBTQ community in its fan base that I love, that's not an option. I'd like to think that the last 7 years would have given me the benefit of a doubt in regards to how I try to treat people, but there I was, trending on Twitter for being a homophobe, getting doxxed, with people threatening to come to my house. My wife is 6 weeks pregnant, and she spent the last night in fear because of what was being said online. She has already begun struggling with her pregnancy, so seeing her afraid really scares me. And that is a very important part. Unplug from Twitter, unplug from the internet. Honestly, seriously, for the health of the baby and for the health of your wife, do that. I can't stress that enough. For someone that has gone through struggles with a pregnancy like my wife went through, it's not a good thing. Any sort of stresses like this is not good. So do put those feet up, relax, Take the time you need. All this because I exercise my right and my duty as an American citizen to vote for and support the candidates who I felt could best run the country for everyone, and that's something I won't apologize for. You know, you shouldn't have to. You exercise your right to vote. I exercise my right to put that out there. Who cares who you voted for? It doesn't matter. We've seen this time and time again. I saw this with Therese Nielsen, where she got canceled over her support of Republicans. And this needs to stop. This is absolutely ridiculous. I am a Canadian. I have no say in American politics whatsoever. But watching this from afar pisses me off to no end, and watching people get canceled and watching people sit there and have to explain themselves over and over again because of something someone didn't like, and then you berate them and you try and make them bend a knee. And honestly, never should you bend the knee in this case. For those that took the time to look, you saw that the candidates I support included men, women, white people, black people, Republicans, and Democrats. I'm reading this verbatim. Do not, whatever, YouTube, just recognize this, that I'm just reading this as is. I'm reporting on this as is. I supported Kimberly Kinlack in Baltimore because I believe she cared for the African-American community there and wanted to pull them out of poverty. I believe she could have really made a difference in a time when so many black communities were struggling. She lost, unfortunately. I supported Tulsi Gabbard, even a Democrat, even though I disagreed with her on several issues, because I felt she would have been good and fair president. And yes, I supported President Trump, because I felt he was the best man to fuel a strong economy and stand up to America's enemies abroad, of which there are many. Even if there were candidates who had better things to say to the LGBT community directly, the bigger promises to make, I believe that the stances on other issues would have ended up doing much greater harm to those communities than good. Of all this explanation, I fear is wasted, as people don't want to discuss with one another anymore. We want endless apologies and submission. People who are expecting those will get neither. I've always been supportive of creators. I've tried to treat everyone fairly. I treat everyone with dignity and respect. I never cared about anyone's race, religion, gender, or orientation. I just treat people as people, everyone the same, and because of that, I ended up with a very diverse group of people that I work with over the years. It wasn't intentional. It just happened that way. I choose people for the best of their job. I treat everyone the same. And I ended up with people that from all walks of life in my professional life and in my professional life as well. Personal life as well. That is the way it should be. That is the way I want it to be. And that is the way I will continue to be. I am a Republican, Christian, pro-life. I believe in God. I believe in equality and in science and in common sense. Despite that, what some may say, all of those things can go together, and that's not an apology or promise to change, is the way it's always been. If I get canceled, I get canceled. I don't do this for the money anymore. I do this because I enjoy to do it. If people think I'm going to do more harm than good now, then maybe it's better I get canceled and retire. I would accept that. I've had a fulfilling career. Besides, most things that people can take from you are things that they never had much value to begin with. I've always loved and will continue to love this community and this fan base, even if someday it doesn't include me anymore. I have seen this time and time again. People have good intentions, and I believe Scott here is doing everything to his power to be a good person and not bring hate or bad stuff down on communities. I believe from reading this, he is attempting to prop up those communities and help build them. And if you want to sit there and counsel someone because of their views, because of the way they do things, it is wrong. It's not how we survive as humanity. It is not how we build up each other. That's how you tear someone down. Just because you don't like someone's view does not mean you need to dox them. You need to threaten them or anything like that. That is legally something that you need to deal with and you will need to answer for. And it is not acceptable in human society at all. And you know what? I've gone through this. I've done this time and time and time again. I report on these things over and over again, and it's just stuff that needs to stop. It's ridiculous watching these things happen, and people always trying to dig up dirt. You will always find dirt, or you'll always find a way to twist it to dirt. And where you found that, it becomes worm food. It can stay there as that. Reading this today very pissed me off, and I hope, Scott, things go well for you and your wife and your unborn child at this point. I hope you come to term and you can do whatever you need to. It would be a shame, an absolute travesty to lose you for Five Nights at Freddy's, because that fan base, that lore, and everything around it is amazing. And I think you don't owe anyone anything. I think the fan base will owe you a ton. We already owe you a ton when it comes down to that. I've only just begun looking into the game myself with Five Nights at Freddy's, and I think it is an amazing game, and I think what you've done there with the lore and everything is absolutely amazing, and I hope the best for you going forward. Anyway, guys, if you like this video, do let me know down below. Hey, what are your thoughts on this? Do you support Scott? Do you think I'm wrong here? If so, let me know as well. Please do give a like, dislike, whatever it may be. Maybe subscribe to the channel. Until next time, you guys have a great day. This is your proud Canadian Phoenix signing off. And don't forget to support the channel with the Patreon or memberships links as well. We'll catch you next time.